अंकुर जी नमस्ते।
Namaste, everyone. Hello, namaste. How's everyone doing today? Yes, namaste. Welcome, everyone. And we alluded to it earlier, and Dr. Uttarkar, Dr. Kalika Uttarkar is an amazing part of Hindu University of America as our director of community education, the whole division. And um, and in today's session, we're gonna really talk about the sweep of Upanishadic wisdom and explain why the five Upanishads studied at HUA and the way that Kalikaji organizes and engages is so important more today than ever. So we're gonna take place of the corpus of distinct contributions of the different Upanishads. And Kalikaji will talk about the 11 of them and how these texts reveal nature itself. So you don't have to have studied Upanishads before, it's part of learning. And I think Kalikaji and I had this conversation about how this session is perfect for complete beginners and seasoned seekers and who want to enter a traditional style and path of study. And um, we're gonna not just talk about the course, but we're gonna talk about those questions of who I am really and the different ways that methods that intellectual insight becomes part of how we at HUA go forward. So with that, let me actually introduce Dr. Uttarkar. I mentioned she's the director of community education. She has a PhD in philosophy, and it's because she integrates philosophy, yoga, psychology, and in so many other aspects of her daily life and how she's been helping HUA build courses and develop as an institution. So with that, let me hand it to Kalikaji to get us started.
Thank you. Thank you, Ankurji. So, again, this is another wonderful morning that we all are here to discuss Upanishads and welcome everybody in this journey. And as I see different participants, some of you will be very new to Upanishads. Some of you are already from my part one, Upanishads part one, and some of you are already distinguished seekers. So, welcome you all. So today, with the context of introducing Introduction to Upanishad Part 2, a course which starts in January 23rd, we are going to have a discussion around Upanishads. So the first and the foremost thing I would like to make it very explicit, as Ankurji also mentioned, that you needn't take part 1 to take part 2. So this is a list of 11 Upanishads, and we have been studying the first 6 Upanishads in this quarter, and the next quarter we would be dwelling into the next 5 Upanishads. Now there is no hierarchical relationship, as to say, but different philosophers and seekers have tried to come up with their own chronology of which Upanishad should be studied first and which should be second. I wouldn't go much into that now, but today I plan, as I discussed with Ankurji, let us come up with a overview of trajectory of our philosophical scriptures as to from where it begins. And so I would like to share initially a slide, and then after that there won't be any slides, but to start with I would start with one slide. So let me share it. Yes, there it is. Can you see everybody?
Yes.
You want me to bring it in the slide mode, or it's okay because then this is just one slide?
No,
uh
no, no, go to full screen. Still out
okay,
there.
I'll go to the full screen. Okay, it's okay now.
Yeah.
Okay, so to begin with, the scriptures that we often the legacy, the huge legacy of scriptures that we have, it begins with shrutis and smritis. So shruti means those scriptures who are revealed to the rishis, revealed to the what I would say, the seekers, and revealed to all the students also. Students not in the very primary stage, but for all those who are spiritual seekers. And this knowledge comes into Vedas. Ved means to know. Vidya dhatu. It comes from Vida. So Vida is to know. So knowledge. Ved is knowledge. So how many Ved are there? We all know there are four Ved. Rug Ved, Yajur Ved, Sama Ved, and Atharva Ved. And from this four Ved, we try to understand what are Upanishads, and therefore we have to understand that each Ved is further divided into four sections: Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishad. So, Samhita, Brahmana, and Aranyaka is composed of different subjects, rituals, knowledge fields, and all together it forms the bigger body of Ved. Now, Upanishad is called as Vedanta. Vedanta is that which comes after Ved, philosophically also and literature wise also. So, Vedanta is that kind of knowledge which is kind of a crown to the earlier knowledge, because it talks about the fundamental questions of human life. In short, they are philosophical dialogues, and they are scattered throughout four Ved. And sometimes they are part of Brahmana, sometimes they are part of Aranyaka, but all philosophical discussion is called as Upanishads. And how many Upanishads are there? Well, we all know that Shankaracharya has written commentary on the major 10 Upanishads: Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, Mandukya, Aitareya, Taittiriya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka. Now, there is also an 11th Upanishad which is called as Shvetashvetar Upanishad. And some say that the commentary is by Shankaracharya, some say other scholar has written. But these 11 Upanishads are the philosophical diamonds of Sanatan civilization. And they talk about human life, they talk about creation. So, shortly, we will go into different questions as to which occur in the Upanishads and how they are discussed. Similarly, there are Vedangas and Upavedas also. So, Vedangas are Vyakarana, Jyotisha, Nirukta, Shiksha, Chanda, and Kalpa. So these are the sciences, these are the Shastras which help us to understand Ved. So Vyakarana is grammar, Jyotisha is astronomy, Nirukta, Shiksha. So all these chandas. So this is something which enriches us and enables us to understand Ved Upanishad in a better way. Now Upavedas are Atharva Veda, like Sthapatya Veda, Arthashastra, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, Ayurveda. So these are the applications of applicative sciences, and sciences which help us to live a better life in this world. So Ayurveda is medicine of according to the Sanatan Dharma, and Dhanurvidya is Arthashastra. It is all about political science, social science, economics. So life is covered from all aspects, and this is what we call as Shruti Parampara. The next is Smriti Parampara. Smriti means memory. So based on the Shrutis, whatever memory we have, new literature was created and further developed. So one of it is Darshan Shastra, different schools of Indian philosophy, Hindu philosophy, that is Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttar Mimamsa. This is an amazing study. As you all know, Nyaya Darshan deals basically with the logic and the structure and methodology of sentences, and how we have to understand knowledge, what structure we should follow. It is also called as Pramana Shastra. What are the different sources of knowledge? One of the very important source of knowledge, as we all know, is perception. Perception is knowledge through our sense organs. And then what comes is tarka, that is logic. Then comes testimony, which is called Shabda Pramanya. And the list goes on. So, what are the different sources of knowledge is what Nyaya discusses. And Vaisheshik talks about different categories. It talks about Anu, and it is a very beautiful Shastra. Sankhya Darshan talks about Purusha and Prakriti. Yoga Darshan talks about Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So it is an Ashtanga yoga. It is eightfold philosophy of actually uh, it is a path, I would say, of living life. It is way of living, and step by step how one can move towards spirituality. Then Purva Mimamsa is about the Ved and how to understand Ved. What is the science of reading and understanding Ved? And then Uttar Mimamsa is about Vedanta. It is about Advaita, it is about Dvaita, it is about Vishishta Advaita. So basically, Brahma Sutra is the Grantha, which is primarily um, about Uttar Mimamsa. So all the gurus had to write a commentary on three things. One is Upanishad, then it is Brahma Sutra, and then it is Bhagavad Gita. This is called as Prasthana Trayi. And once we write a commentary on this, there is a holistic understanding of all this, then the person would be acknowledged as Acharya. So Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, these are the Acharyas who have written commentary. So there are commentaries also written on Darshan Shastra. Similarly, Purana. So Puranas was further a amazing creation in this whole list. It came up in the form of stories, and then these stories were told in such a way that it reflected the knowledge from Ved and Upanishads and Shed Darshanas. So, reading Puranas with a proper understanding of what Upanishads, Ved, and Darshan Shastra says takes us to a very different level. In fact, for understanding Purana, we need to have knowledge of Vedangas also. Vyakarana, Jyotisha, Nirukta, Chanda. This has to be understood. And then if we are well acquainted with what is Arthashastra, what is Sthapatya Vidya, Dhanurvidya, and a number of Shastra and Kala which comes in Ved, then understanding Puran itself becomes a very, I would say, a happy journey. Full of symbols are there, lot of imagination is there. Uh, it is a beautiful journey. But if we don't have a background, then sometimes people may not be able to understand it. So this prior knowledge is always helpful. So some of the Puranas are like Brahma Purana, then Vishnu Purana, Shaiva Purana, and then it talks about different deities and different concept of creation and understanding. Similarly, there are Smriti Granthas, which is Manusmriti, Yajnavalka Smriti, Parashar Smriti. They talk about Dharma Sutras, what should we know while we are living in this life, what is the way of living, what rules should be followed, what should not be done. So, along with knowledge, there are certain do's and don'ts, which are time and space related also, but certain things are beyond space and time. So it's a beautiful combination of both. So, and Manusmriti is a pattern which was written again and again. It's not that once Manusmriti was written. Smritis are dynamic. They need to be again and again revisited, re-understood, and if required, certain modifications based on the space and time is made. So that has been the parampara, the tradition. Nothing is static. It's nothing like thousands of years back somebody said something and now we just have to follow blindly. No, there is always an opportunity to relate it with the current issues, with the current life, with the current way of living. So that is the beauty. And then the other part is agamas. Agama Shastra is, we have Vaishnava Grantha, Shaiva Grantha, and Shakta Grantha, which is also called as agamas. These are also philosophical. And last but not least is Itihasa, which is very dear to us. That is Ramayana and Mahabharata. So Itihasa is telling what happened in such a way that it becomes motivational, it becomes aspirational, it guides people how they have to live ahead. So it is not just telling facts, but it is telling facts in such a way that we understand what was right, what was not right. Basically, in Ramayana and Mahabharata, the whole discussion goes around two concepts, fundamental concepts, that is dharma and adharma. So, what is dharmic and what is adharmic? There is a constant tussle between this, and different characters come around that. And it is so beautiful to read Ramayana and Mahabharata at every stage in life. When we first get connected to it as kids, when our grandparents, our parents tell us stories, and then later on, as we start reading it in the form of comic books, and then eventually, as we become serious readers and we really understand what the story is, amazing journey it is, because the whole philosophy of Upanishads is brought in Ramayana and Bharat and in Mahabharata in such a way that they become guides for our life. So this is, and then of course writings of Acharya, Jagat Gurus and Saint, Santa Parampara is also huge. So this is in general a trajectory of our literature. And the crown of this is Upanishads. And therefore, today, briefly, we will touch and see what each Upanishad is saying. So, I'll stop sharing this screen. Yes. So, now what I would say is that there are certain questions in our life, very fundamental questions. Who am I? Now, this is appears to be a very generic question. Every philosopher will be asking about this. But let us think about our life. Often we ask this question to ourselves: who am I? Somebody gives me a name and then I carry it throughout my life. Somebody said this is Kalika. And now every time I introduce myself that I am Kalika. We do that, isn't it? So that um, connected to my personality, to me as an individual, as a bundle of thoughts, emotions, and a form in the form of a body. So then the question is, why am I created? Where from I come? Where should I go? What is life? What is death? So, do I have a control over my life or am I determined? All that I am doing, is it like I am sitting in a simulation center and somebody else is operating? Or I am free to live my life? People, those who come into my life, are they here with a purpose? Are they here with a reason behind? Or randomly we are just matched with each other as parents, children, spouses, friends? How is it that we come across? Do we have any relation amongst ourselves? Is there any reason why we meet a certain person and we don't meet so many people? In this millions and billions of people, why are we in a world of this 100, 200 people who are so close to us? Or 5, 10 people who are so close to us? Or why nobody is there and I am lonely? So these are the questions that haunt us throughout our life. But what happens is most of the time we are in the flow of our routine. And even then these questions are coming, we silence them. So rather than silencing them, let us pay attention to them. Now, this is the journey of Upanishads. So, in Shvetashvatar Upanishad, so these 5 Upanishad that we would be discussing today are Aitareya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, and Shvetashvatar. The Shvetashvatar Upanishad begins with the question: Kim Karanam Brahma? Kutasma Jata? Where from this world came? How did we come here? Where are we going? N number of questions. It's a list of beautiful questions. Is there any causation behind this? Is there a reason why we are here? Or is it everything so random? There is no reason, there is no causation. It is just that my brain is trained to find causes. I'm finding causes. Or is there anything as cause? Or is there anything beyond causation, space, and time? What is reality? What is the parameter of something when we call that it is truth? What is the definition of truth? All these questions are part of these Upanishads. Now, what happens is these rishis they sit together and then they are discussing. And after a lot of discussion and deep discussion, the Upanishad mentions that Te dhyana yoga anugata. They all went into meditation. Now, this is a very significant reference. When we say there are different sources of knowledge, there are different methods of gaining knowledge, why Upanishads are unique and the knowledge tradition that we are living in is different, it marks the difference over here. That there is one way of gaining knowledge, which is knowledge about something. Be conscious of something. So I get information, I get knowledge from outside based on my sensory experiences. My logic is also based on that. My imagination is based on that. So the whole structure of knowledge that I am experiencing about the world is based on my experience. Now the fundamental question is my experience valid, concrete, static, definite? Or is it also relative? And if my experiences are relative, then can we call it truth? Then what is the parameter of truth? And are there layers of truth? As Shankaracharya says, Vyavaharika Satya, Pratibhasik Satya, and Paramarthik Satya. So are there different levels of truth and reality? Then what are we actually experiencing? So when I say this is a pen, it is a pen because my mind and consciousness is trained to understand this as a pen. But if I was a dog, if I was a tiger, if I was a bird, would I see this object as pen? Then what is it that is real for me? Is it also real for other species? Leave aside different species about us as individuals, as human beings. I perceive my parents in a particular way. That is the reality for me. But my brother, my sister would perceive it in a different way. So experience of the family for one child is not same as the experience is for the other child. So here comes the element of perception. So how much is my perception playing in this? Is reality dependent on my perception and conception? Perception and conceptions are two different things. When these two things are coming, is that experience so relative to my understanding based on which I react? Is it the ultimate or is it something else? All these questions are discussed when we discuss Upanishads. So these are the fundamental questions, I would say. And do they give concrete answers? Now, there is a tradition of philosophers in Western countries which say that philosophers never give answers. Philosophers often ask questions. More intelligent question you ask, much better philosopher you are. This is what the tradition says. So they will never say. Even Western psychology would never say that as a counselor, I will never tell somebody this is the right path for you. I would facilitate the person to think and then let the person come out with its own answers and I will help. That would be the role of a counselor. I'm also a psychological counselor. So I'm talking about this whole process. So, as a philosopher, as a psychologist, the Western tradition doesn't say you have to come up with answers. It has its own significance. This methodology is also very important and it is not new to the Hindu tradition because there also we follow dialogue, inquiry, questioning, facilitating. All that is there, but it doesn't stop there because knowledge is gained through experience also. And here the experience is different. That is what I started the discussion with. It is the experience of internal existence. I am getting knowledge about the external world is one aspect, but which is dynamic, which keeps changing. Newtonian physics came, then Einstein came with relativity. Now we are talking about string theory. We are talking about particles which are interconnected in spite of being away space and from space and time. Then we say space and time doesn't exist. So all that discussion is happening around, but there is no firm answer. These are valid hypotheses. That is scientific methodology. Now, when I'm saying experiential from the context of Upanishads, they are talking about internal experience. That is a methodology which only Ved and Upanishads speak about. Te dhyana yoga anugata. It is linked here. So this is also one source of knowledge which we need to explore is what Upanishads are saying. And when knowledge is gained through that, it is called revelation, understanding, experiencing oneself, experiencing as a creator, not just as creation. I look at my creation and I identify myself as my creation. But Upanishads say that hold on, that is your creation. Here comes the methodology of Neti Neti. Not this. I am not my body. I am not my mind. I am not my energy. I am beyond this. This discussion happens in Taittiriya Upanishad when they talk about Panchakosha. Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and transcending this. Taittiriya Upanishad also tries to quantify bliss. How can we quantify bliss? Hedonism came later on in Western philosophy. Even then, they are not able to do it. Back, long time back in Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad says that we can quantify the happiness of a layman. And then it goes on hierarchically. And at the end, it says that all that is much, much lesser than the bliss of a yogi. So they try to quantify the happiness, joy that we are experiencing, and then they explain how to transcend that. Similarly, in Aitareya Upanishad, it talks about creation. Initially, it was one, it was just there. Then it wished, let me create. And then the creation begin. So it has a theory of creation. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad has a theory of creation. Chandogya has a theory of creation. So while we are discussing these five Upanishads, we will see as to what are these different theories and can they be related to the modern theories of creation, starting from the Big Bang theory to the current theories and the neuroscience developments. We would see is there any relation to these theories, because understanding this would help us answer the new generation when they are asking questions and to relate knowledge in a holistic way. So that is one effort. Similarly, in the Chandogya Upanishad, we come across this Uddalaka and Shvetaketu. And Uddalak is the father, and Shvetaketu is his son, and he goes to the Gurukul and he learns there from different gurus, and he comes back. And then his father says, "Oh, you have learned everything?" This young boy is saying, "Yes, I have learned from Harvard, I have learned from Stanford, I have learned from Ivy League, I have learned from this university. My father is just staying here." So, with all from all big gurus, this child has learned and come back. And he's telling father, "I know everything." Father says, "Fine, that is really great. Now tell me one answer. What is it that, after knowing which, nothing remains to be learned?" Now this young man is wondering what it could be. That is the dialogue between Uddalaka and Shvetaketu. The father is asking the son, if you have learned about everything, do you know the cause behind that, because of which everything exists? So somebody says, "I have seen all the ornaments and I now understand what it is." And then somebody comes and asks, "Do you know from which metal these ornaments are made?" And the child doesn't know. Then they say, "Do you know what is gold?" So if you know gold, in a way you know all ornaments. So knowing the essence of existence gives us an idea as to what is the creation that is happening. So this dialogue happens there. Similarly, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we all know Maitreyi and Yajnavalkya Samvad is there. So Yajnavalkya tells Maitreyi that Atmanastu Kamaya Priyaya Priya Bhavanti. I like my wife because she's my wife. I like my husband because he's my husband. I like my God because it is my God. So we like everything in this world when there is some mamatva, when there is some attachment with myself. So whom do I love? Do I love others or do I love myself? So the love is for the self. And is that self so lovable? What is it? Now that goes, that discussion goes forward. So Atmanastu Kamaya is that. It also talks about the concept, like Taittiriya Upanishad talks about the concept of Ananda, Anandam Brahmeti Vajanat. So ultimately, when we say I am Sat Chit Ananda, what is this Ananda is also a discussion. And later on in the second dialogue between Maitreyi and Yajnavalkya, they have a very a deep philosophical discussion also. So the concept of Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, all this are the discussions that these five Upanishads will be um, dealing with. So, and as I said, Shvetashvatar Upanishad gives a reference of Rudra, Shiva. It talks about what is Maya, um, what is the nature of this world. So, Jiva, Jagat. So, Jiva is we, Jagat is this world, and Brahman is the ultimate reality. So, what is the relationship between these three? Is there a relationship at all? So these are the questions. So, learning Upanishads is basically understanding the dialogue between the student and the teacher. I would often say that it is like walking on the beach and we find gems and we find shells and we start picking them. And then we realize, oh, what a treasure I have collected. Now, this gets organized further in the literature which follows in the Darshan Shastra. It comes in Ramayana, Mahabharata, it comes in a different form in the Puranas, but the genesis is in Upanishads. So, learning this Upanishads gives us confidence and understanding that I have studied and learned Upanishads, so I know the base of it. I know the fundamental concepts that come. Now, as you all have read Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Upanishads. Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandana. So there are certain shlokas which are exactly same, taken from Mundakopanishad, Kathopanishad. So it will be interesting to find the relationship between these shlokas. And finally, just I would say this and end my talk is that why study Upanishads? What is the fundamental thing that is related to me, as Yajnavalkya says? It is called the Shastra of Dukkha Nivrutti. So we all are moving on the pendulum of Sukha and Dukkha, sadness and happiness. And we enjoy this ride a lot, every one of us. We like to be happy, and then even if we are sad, we have hope. So again, we come back to happiness. So this is going on. But at a particular stage in life, somebody would say, is there a better way also? Is there a way that I can overcome my sadness? I can overcome my limitations. I can be more free. I can be more confident. I can be more undisturbed. I would not be in the state of restlessness which I am perpetually every time there. Can I be in the state of rest? What is it? And then the journey begins. And there Upanishads come to our help as friends, where they come with wonderful insights and wisdom. So I think this is a brief introduction of the Upanishads and the tradition we have. I think we can open for the questions.
Amazing. Thank you for that background. And as Vijayji says, thank you, Kalikiji, for mapping out the whole Hindu scripture ecosystem. Yes, very well said. Muraliji and Anuji joining from Irvine, thank you. Naganathanji from Maryland, thank you. Ken, yeah, maybe we'll get a chance to share more. And then Vijay G also asks, for someone new to this, where
Hmm.
is a good starting point? And then we'll take the rest of this question. And also, since one may not be able to study all the scripture in one lifetime,
Mm-hmm.
what is a logical path to take that would give me good stopping points along the way?
Um, See, learning Bhagavad Gita is always a very good start. But if you're asking me for Upanishads, I would say start with Ishavasya Upanishad or Kathopanishad. Even if you study one Upanishad, it will give you an understanding of how Upanishads discuss thought. And once you are into the adventure park, you will not want to, one second, you would not want to come out of it. So, starting with Kathopanishad or Ishavasya Upanishad is a good way, and they are not overwhelming. There are very good translations available in all Indian languages. They are there also in English. And simultaneously, if you are reading Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, it also becomes a very good journey. And if you are reading Bhagavad Gita, I would say the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is an amazing chapter, which is an essence of whole of Bhagavad Gita. So, first and second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is also a very good start. And then if you move on to any of the Upanishads, I would say even this five Upanishads, Taittiriya Upanishad is a very beautiful Upanishad. It starts with Shikshavalli, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. It is an Upadesh, it is an advice given to the Snatakas, that is students who are graduating. So that gives a holistic understanding of what is life. The theory of Purushartha evolves from it. The theory of Ashrama Vyavastha evolves from it. So what are the goals of human life? How I have to live? What are the stages of human life? So that is a very good beginning. So don't get overwhelmed by any Upanishad. Just start. It is for the beginners. The beginner has a phobia to begin, but we need to just start. And once we are in it, there is a lot of hand holding in the process. Yes, any question?
Nice. Thank you, Vijayji, for that. Krishnaji asks, what is the scope of learning like? What is the outcome expected?
Mhm.
And then, of course, you need knowledge of Sanskrit. Let me know a few words.
Always knowing Sanskrit is a bonus. So if you have time and possibilities there, please learn Sanskrit, I would say. But if Sanskrit is not, if you're not learning Sanskrit as of now, you have not had an opportunity to learn it earlier. Nevertheless, uh, in this course, we focus on discussing the fundamental concepts and its relevance to the modern science and the contemporary lifestyle. So, that is really a good experience to start with. And of course, once you are acquainted with all these 11 Upanishads, and if you still wish to continue, you can go deeper into each Upanishad and then start your deep studies. So, that is also always a possibility. Um, and the outcome, if you ask me, is that a very simple outcome, I would say, is that we all like to smile, we all like to be happy, but we cannot do it continuously. Even as day starts and day ends, we are on a roller coaster ride. We are continuously in the state of restlessness. So, how to come from that state of restlessness to a state of rest? How to find my peace in the whole chaos that is around me? That is the outcome. How can I stay undisturbed? That is the outcome. And of course, philosophical questions will be, we will find some answers to that. But this is the fundamental skill which makes us more confident, more strong, and to understand who I am. That is the main outcome. Am I this constrained, limited living being who always have to strive to become big, have to strive to become happy? Who am I really? Isn't it fantastic that if I realize that I'm not just this, but I am divine? I am part of that divinity. I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Ananda. Even if on the thought level, if we understand, it becomes a valid hypothesis for us. And then holding that hypothesis with Shraddha, we can move ahead in our journey to one fine day realize on the experiential level that I am that ultimate truth. This is the main outcome, I would say.
Very nice. Muraliji is asking, they have Ishwaran's book on Upanishads. Is this a good place to start? Then he's asking, if not, what is a good beginner's book? Jay is also asking, which commentary on the Taittiriya Upanishads would you recommend? He is asking, can you suggest a book to start? Don is saying books by Vamadeva, Dr. David Frawley, and he lists it. You know what? Let me just share the course. You
Please.
know, if you enroll in a course, right, and in this course in particular, even though it's called part two, you get access to so many readings that will be shared as part of your enrollment, right? It's not just one translation by one person in one book. This is um, access to a library, right? You can think about it that way. It's enroll in one course at HUA, you get your enrollment into the learning management system. And then in this course in particular, with this introduction to Upanishads, as Kalikaji said, we get into those specific Upanishads. And where's a good place to start? This one, this course right here. You know, it's a continuation of this conversation, and it is what you put into it, right? If you want to do the reading, if you want to get into it, and think about it and engage in a class. Right now, it's just a webinar with Dr. Uttarkar and myself. You're asking some questions. I may be able to unmute you if you have something that you want to ask. I launched a few questions. Um, and we have a few more questions coming in. So this is how you start, you know, books, yes, but that's why we have a university to engage in structured learning and a community that takes us forward together. And then we're about to have a graduation ceremony. I mean, I hope so. I think some of these folks who are here with us today will be joining us for that. Let me just launch this quick poll about this particular course. Let us know if you're interested, some retreats, and then if you've taken any course or a retreat with HUA. Um,
There is one question by Catherine Ankurji.
oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so she's saying, can we take part two without taking the part one? Yes, you can take. So many times it happens that even for our part two, new students join in. They do the second part first, and later on they do the part one. So it doesn't matter. So even if we are starting with Aitareya Upanishad, it is a wonderful journey. We start with the theory of creation. So you would enjoy that. And there are some questions. Mm. Great introduction to Sanatana. Okay, thank you. Knowledge of English and Hindi would be enough. Yeah. So if you, there are beautiful translations in Hindi by Gita Press Gorakhpur, and there are beautiful translations in English by Gambhirananda ji. So these are some of the good translations. There are others also, but these are the two which we follow in the course. And then as you join the course, I would give you many references and things which you can start with. See, joining the course and reading it on your own makes a little difference, because when we are in the class and it is going live, continuously there is a discussion going on, question answers happening. Our fellow beings are also there, they are also asking fellow students. Being with them, with like minded people itself is a wonderful experience. That it's not just me who I am in this journey, but there are another 20-30 people like me sitting in the class. So that builds a lot of enthusiasm and confidence and motivation. So that could be a very good start to learning Upanishads and getting into this spiritual journey. Does anybody would want to speak or want to ask any question? Ankushi can unmute you.
Yeah, raise your hand or let me know. Rakeshi is asking if you've written any books that summarize the Upanishads in this way.
Well, I have my thesis. My name of my thesis was Introduction to Upanishads, Philosophy of Life in Major 11 Upanishads. So I haven't yet printed it, but yes, it's in the pipeline. I need to a little bit modify it and then, still add few things. And that project is, I think you're motivating me. Soon I should get that out.
Awesome, awesome. Hopefully, part of the future of Hindu University of America
Yes,
includes publications.
yes,
So there's a lot going on at Hindu University of America. If you haven't taken a course, please do. We have retreats coming up. Catherine G, thank you, Catherine. If you want to let us know where you're zooming in from in the chat, I can give you a shout out. I think all the questions are now addressed. Um, Again, I just dropped the course that Kalikaji is teaching in this next quarter. That's January to March. So we're on a quarter system, and this is a interesting time. And if it fits into your schedule or you're looking for something to do in that weeknight, it's great. Yeah, Don, I agree. A very good comprehensive overview. I love that chart. Actually, you said it's just one chart, but there was so much on it. Yes, need to see the full screen. And
yes,
even each one, like you discussed, there's so much there. And then you've taught courses on on many of these.
yes.
All right, so I've got the poll up. Let us know if you're interested in this particular course or this upcoming retreat. It's a little bit it's coming up real soon, so maybe gotta be local. And this at the last of it, let us know if you've taken a course ever, enrolled in a program, if you want to be a friend of HOA. Appreciate it.
So there was this question, isn't it, Ankurji, that what is the outcome? So that
Mm,
reminds me of a very short story, if I'm allowed to say. Maybe I'll just take a few minutes.
mm,
So this is a story of an orphan boy who is living in a village, and he has a house, a very big house. And he was very young when his parents passed away, and this house was handed over to him, and nobody's there, and he's just living there. And he is trying to meet ends, difficult and a lot of difficulty. Some people are coming and helping him, and he often feels sad that I cannot live with dignity, I cannot live with confidence, I have no strong identity. People look at me as, oh, poor child doesn't have parents, how is he living? So it's a sad life. One fine day, one person comes to his house, and then he doesn't know him. He asks him, who are you? He says, I'm your father's friend. We were very good friends when we were young, and your father was amazing. He said, is it? But he hasn't left me anything. I don't have anything with me. Look at other people. Look at Europe. Look at America. Look everywhere. How people are rich. How they have developed, and how everything fantastic is happening. But in my house, nothing is there. They tell me that, oh, you are such a I mean, you need to be civilized. You are not a nice person. You need to be educated. Look and do as we are doing. I feel sad about this. I wish my father had done something. So he says, your father was a scholar, and he was not just a scholar, but he had lot of wealth too. But he said, I don't have. He said, you haven't searched. He said, oh, where should I search? Is there any place in the village where I should go and search? Was it something like my neighbors had? He said, no, don't go and search anywhere else. Go in the basement of your house, the inner core of your house. I will take you there. He takes this boy there, and the door opens, and there are books written by his father, his uncle, his ancestors. There is tremendous wealth inside. And then this boy is simply overjoyed. His father said, now, the next duty is, now that you have found, try to understand what it is. Somewhere we are like that. That is the outcome. We should go and explore our legacy, our treasure, what we actually have. That will help us build our identity, a very strong identity, self sufficient identity, and we can pass it on to the new generation who will no longer be confused and will never be driven by other people's narratives. They will be strong enough to build their narratives. So, this is one of the outcome, I would say. So, come and join the course and not just learn for yourself, but become ambassadors of this traditional wisdom. and help the community to build real confidence. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Well said. Dr. Shashisane says, thank you very much. Enjoyed it. Meaning of Upanishad itself clarifies the purpose of Upanishads. Right. That's well said. Arunji is joining us. He says your Darshana course was fantastic. Are
Thank you.
you able to say anything, Arunji? Thank you for joining us and recognizing that the course was fantastic. I got a little poll up. Let me know if I got maybe half the folks have filled out the poll. I know it's 4 questions, maybe too many, but let us know. You can skip the middle two, I think. If you can't, just click no, it's okay. Um, let us know if you're interested in the course. It's all right. If yeah, Don, very good comprehensive overview. I shared the link. Arunji, maybe not available now. Okay. So, Kalikaji, how are you feeling? I know you got a busy schedule today, jumping from one thing to the next,
Yeah.
and it's nice to see that people are interested, in different places and different ways. And then, it's part of the case to persuade people that taking a course at HUA is it's worth it, right? The
Yeah.
value is there um, compared to buying a book or whatever else if you have disposable income. But also we offer scholarships, and sometimes it's we have work study. There's other ways that we can, if you're really interested in getting to learn about um, Hinduism, about scriptures, about the Upanishads in particular, let us know, and then we'll get you enrolled. Yes. We want
Yeah.
people to participate and take this forward and be a part of what we're doing in the university. So maybe I'll drop a link to the scholarship page in the chat.
So it is not just taking the Upanishad course, but I would say visit the website of HUA, and we have a plethora of courses available. So we have amazing faculties who have spent decades in learning and understanding and knowing their subjects. So learning Upanishads, learning Bhagavad Gita, learning Ayurveda, learning yoga, and then civilizational history, understanding about decolonization, understanding about jati, varna, and caste. So these are some of the highlighting courses that we have. So understanding ourselves, our culture, our legacy, our philosophy is something which helps us to enrich our identity and understand the core of identity. So I welcome you all. Please, today after the webinar or throughout the day, anytime, go and visit the website, check into our different courses. And if you plan to come for the Upanishad course, looking forward to see you all there. So, yes, good meeting you all today, Sunday morning. Uh,
Yeah. Sridaji, yes, we will be planning some other West Coast retreats. Nothing as of right now, but I think we will in the beginning of next year, maybe March. We'll get back to you on that, Sridaji. Thank you. Krishnanji says he's watched out 100 YouTube videos by Sarva Priyananda Swami uh, and others. He like a structured way of joining this course. Yeah, I mean, Kalikaji is an amazing person, and now she's offering so many different courses, and maybe the Upanishads isn't for you, Hindu Dharmic parenting, growing up with the Gita. There are just courses that Kalikaji is teaching herself. But she's also, as a director of community education, interested in bringing in new people to HUA in a structured way. So if you know people who would be good faculty at HUA, we could also connect and bring them in and offer what people are doing in a structured way as HOA grows, and it's just a very platform to connect with other people as well. So thank you, Shidaji, for that.
I may just add a little bit,
Yes.
Ankuji. So, Krishnanji is saying that I have watched about 100 YouTube videos by Sarva Priyanandaji and Swami Tadatmanandaji. I would like to go in a structured way by joining this course. So, I would say these two scholars are amazing, and you have watched their videos, it means that you have accumulated a very good knowledge base. But what I would say is, I welcome you if you want to join the course, because when we join the course, we are not just listening, we are also participating in the process of learning. And then you would deeply go into reading the scripture also, and then discussing, and your question answers would come up, and that is a different experience, I would say. So if you, all of you, I would say, for that matter, because there is a lot of knowledge that is available on YouTube, and amazing people talk, so that is an always an addition. HUA doesn't compete with the YouTube. HUA supplements, or I would say the YouTube supplements. So, with a base which is already ready, it is a fertile land, then let us take it forward. So, joining the courses would always be a good option, because uh, personally we get into the whole journey. And then you come up with presentations, you write essays, you also talk in the class, and each question, each concept is back and forth discussed. So that itself becomes a very amazing experience, I would say. So welcome. If you wish to, see you soon.
Yes, great. Kiran Patil from Pittsburgh, currently in part one. Great course. Highly recommend. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Kiran.
Jung, yes. Gurungji, yes. There are other courses to learn basic Sanskrit from the Devanagari script on all the way to masters. But yeah, at the beginning levels, the phonetics and the learning and everything in between. All right, great. Thank you everyone for participating. It is my pleasure to be hosting Dr. Uttarkar for today's webinar. Thank you all for joining if you're in the West Coast really early. Otherwise, I hope it's time worked for a lot of other people in a comfortable way. And we'll see you with the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankurji, and thank you, everybody. See you soon.